this is Mr. Hurd. Today we're going to go over some materials and I'm going to show you how to draw a simple cartoon face. The first thing I want to tell you is you do not need to spend a lot of money to have a lot of fun drawing. I always use just a normal pencil, but I know students who use mechanical pencils too. I like this kind of pencil because you can hold it like this and you can do shading. You can't do this with a mechanical pencil. Then I always have, this is my favorite kind of pen, a Papermate Flare. It has a nice felt tip and it allows you to do different thicknesses depending on how hard you press, but it's still really cheap and easy to use. Sometimes I use a very thin Sharpie, a thin point Sharpie, also felt but very thin point. I use a lot of normal color pencils, and sometimes I even use crayons. These are some very old crayons. And then sometimes I just use markers. You can tell I'm not sponsored by Crayola, just to be clear. I also have a set of watercolor pencils, and these pencils here, there's no wood to them. They're all pigment. So that's enough on supplies. And then for paper, I think just regular white printing paper is just great. You don't have to be fancy. So when we're drawing a simple cartoon face, you have to draw a good circle. And that can be tough because if you just try to draw a circle, I have a lot of students who they plant their palm down on the paper and then they start to draw. And the beginning is easy because your hand naturally arches out. But then as it gets closer to your hand, then you start crimping your fingers in. You're like, oh, it's really tough. And then you try to move it, and then you're constantly moving your palm, and it just doesn't work out. So here's the trick that I have learned. First of all, free your palm from the paper and bring it up. And instead of having your pencil sideways, have your pencil vertical or perpendicular to the paper, so it's straight up and down. And then move your whole arm in a circle. Your elbow is up. You can't see that, but my elbow is up. Everything is away from the table, and I just go around and around and around. And you can clean this up later. So before we draw anything else, I want you to just practice drawing circles. Around and around and around. And this is always a good activity. So I'm going to draw big, but you don't have to. So there's my circle. Then I'm going to split it into fourths. Now, when I was your age, and I'm going to tell this over and over again, when I was younger, I was very good at drawing one eye. And I'd draw one eye, and then I'd try to draw the other eye, and they never matched up. And when I put the whole face together, if I got the second eye done, and it kind of matched, the face always looked like it had gotten beaten up or something because it wasn't symmetrical. Symmetrical means one side equals the other. So that's why I'm going to try to draw a perfect circle or a close to perfect circle, and I'm going to split it into quadrants. That way I know that one side equals the other. And for my nose, I'm going to do a very simple capital C. Okay? Fairly simple. Just a capital C right there in the middle. For the eyes, I'm going to build them simultaneously. So right in the middle of this line and right in the middle of this line, I'm going to make a curve. And I'm just going to be measuring them. Sometimes you can use your finger to measure them or part of the pencil to see if they're pretty equal. I'm going to call these eyes tombstone eyes. Because what I do is then I create two vertical lines at the top of that curve and then a curve on top. I do it to one eye and then the other. That creates symmetry. Then I'm going to continue this same pattern. Notice I'm pressing really lightly on the pencil. There. So even if you're not a good artist, you can do this step-by-step procedure. Okay. Ink it really fast. Maybe not too fast, Hurdo. The eyes are key to expressions. The nose very rarely is used in art to show emotion. For the mouth, your mouth should go from pupil to pupil. So I'm going to make a slightly curved, this guy's going to be smiling, a slightly curved line that goes from pupil to pupil. At some point today, you should look at yourself in the mirror and measure your own face. And you'll see that when you smile, or just when you're standing still, your mouth will be as wide as your two pupils. I'll try to show you later. Then I'm going to make a smaller line down below that's far more curved, and then I'm going to connect them. The upper line is longer than the lower line. And then instead of showing individual teeth, I'm just going to show a block of white. The more detail you add, the more attention you will draw to an item. So if I drew individual teeth, which you can do, you're going to draw the viewer's attention to those teeth. So if they're crooked or wacky looking, that will add to the character's expression and to his personality, or hers. Okay, we're getting close. Now I'm going to draw a little chin down here, some cheeks. Notice how I'm doing one, then the other. And sometimes, if you're still having a hard time, I call this connect the dots. There we go. And you can give the face a little bit more definition. Now for the ears. The ears go from roughly the top of the eyes to the bottom of the nose. But this is cartoons, right? So I'm exaggerating. His ears are going to come way out. And then inside, I'm going to make a really simple, it's basically a 2. The little rim there of cartilage, and then down to that little flap that covers the ear hole. Maybe you throw in a little line like that. Okay, so our guy's really coming together here. And notice when I start inking, I'm cleaning it up. And I keep my eyes a little bit ahead of where the tip of my pen is. Just like when you ride your bicycle. You don't look at the tire. You look ahead to where you're going. So if you go there with your eyes, your hand will follow. Okay, it's already looking pretty good. Now I do want to show you something weird and fun. At this point, we could totally change this guy's character. Right now, he seems pretty jovial and happy. And if we gave him eyebrows like that, he would continue to be. However, if we take those same eyebrows, all of a sudden he can become sadistic and cruel. Or maybe laughing. I don't know. You can mix the eyebrows up. But I'm going to go back to my originals. I draw these lines where I want them to be. And then I make a little line up here, thick to thin. And I'm not going to draw individual hairs in there. Now it's time for the hair. And when you think about someone's hair for cartooning, not for realistic art, I want you to think of 2 lines, the inner hairline and the outer hairline. So the inner hairline starts in front of the ears. Well, this one's a little higher than the other one. I don't care. Some little sideburns. I bring it up to a point, near the eyebrows. Then you can decide, is the hair coming down or over his forehead, or is it up? Maybe he's got a little bit of a receding hairline. So I'm going to give my person a part. So the part in the hair is going to go over here. And all this hair is going to go that way, and this hair is going to go that way. So that line comes down here. So that means I can make these slanted ends or V's coming across. Then the hair goes that way, the hair goes this way. And this is tough, and actually I would turn my paper if I wasn't filming. These longer and longer until you get above the ear, and then just a line coming down. And then this side I'm going to have 1, 2, there. Last thing we need is a neck. There. Notice I gave it a little bit of curvature. It's not straight lines. And then to show that this is round, I'm going to draw a curved line at the bottom and have the shoulders slanted coming out of the neck. There. He's done. Maybe add a little bit of reflection in the eyes. I just made a mistake with my marker. Nice. I wait a second because if I use my eraser too soon, the ink will, You don't want to erase too soon because the ink will, and then all those planning lines you just erase. And that's actually why I color in as well, because once you color in, the planning lines really disappear. I pressed a little bit too hard though. There. All right. And we'll do a coloring lesson on another day. Good job, everybody.